All right, we're back. Hello, Michaela.
Hey.
Thank you
Hey.
so much for joining me.
Yeah.
Short little intro that I'm just kind of gonna do off the top of my head for those that don't know. We have known each other since high school, so this is super cool. And then we both ended up in South Florida, and we've kind of been growing, with our what we'll get into as a very like independent way of doing our thing, fresh out of high school and just kind of growing up. So it's super cool. But Michaela, thank you so much for coming on. First question I always ask everyone, just because I want to kick this off, is like, what are you most excited about right now and why?
The most thing I'm excited about is kind of like being experimental with like some ideas I'm having, like kind of instead of hustling, just like creating. So I think like that's what I'm more focused and excited about right now.
Okay, cool. And what kind of brought you to that point?
Well, I mean, doing art, like in the beginning, it's very kind of like make money, how to survive. So you're doing a lot of commissions. But now I've gotten into a place where I'm more like secure with my commissions that I can start expanding creatively and doing kind of like my own art and like what I want to do. So I'm really excited to be at that level now.
Nice. And we'll take it back. I'm like kind of just starting. What would you say like when did uh when did you start to take it super serious? When would you say, okay, like I'm all in with this and let's start there and then we'll go farther back later on?
Yeah, I have been doing art like for fun my whole life, but I think I was in college my freshman year, so I was 18, and I was like, this is not working out. I don't want to do this. I don't enjoy doing this. And it kind of just like hit a wall, and I was like, well, I don't want to do anything else but this. So I'm really just gonna like fully immerse myself into it. So I think 18 is when I started. So about
18.
3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years in and
Yeah.
3 years of just like consistent progress. What are some things you just implement on a day-to-day basis that you'd say just keep you engaged and just always you kind of always know you're progressing?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's start there.
Well, progressing doesn't always feel like it's progressing, but I think consistency is always the key. Like mama mentality, honestly, is like the thing that I repeat in my head like every single day to keep me going. It's like being a little bit better every day. So like yesterday might feel like crap, but like today you can like be just a little bit better. And if you can just keep consistently making those small changes, that's what like adds up.
Yeah, no, I really like how you said that because it's really about just like you focus on it's not exactly what you do, it's the fact you did it and you
Hmm.
didn't have a 0 day because that's
Yeah.
immediately breaking. I like try to push this all the time. Like if you're someone who's decided to commit to the gym and you know if you go like consistently and like you get in your routine, you'll
Yeah.
see the results. So like just show up. You don't have to if
Yeah.
going 60 minutes breaks you in the door and you do it 5 days in a row, great. But like same thing with your business. Focus on it an hour a day, commit an hour, and then that day you don't feel like doing it, don't do nothing. Do 20 minutes, see what it turns into. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a book, Atomic Habits, and they kind of talk about that. But it's like, don't focus about going to the gym. Focus on putting your shoes on, or like focus putting your like outfit on, and then like just take those little steps from there. So like those are big like little like mindset changes that you can do.
100%. I think it kind of foreshadows how they constantly talk about how you can really be in the present and not focus so far down the line. Because
Yeah,
I can personally say, and I'm sure you relate to this, when you are like kind of creating your own wealth, you're creating, your own systems, you tend to foreshadow like or trying to really get ahead of yourself. Like, oh, if
yeah,
I do this, it's going to turn into this, this, and this. It kind of freaks you out, or like,
mhm,
oh, am I ready to handle it? But you're right. Did I take it all the way down to open my laptop, write up that offer? Not,
yeah,
oh, if they don't accept, what does this mean for the business? I have to close this deal. Like, you don't even know until but you can get yourself to do the little things right. So yeah, that's really cool how you said that. Now let's pull it into a little more relevant now things. I want to talk about Art Basel. You know, recently that was a big step, and I think that was super cool. How did
yeah.
you get involved with that? Can you walk us through the process of how that kind of came to fruition, and then talk about the actual event itself a little bit?
Yeah. So Art Basel, honestly, I want to say like majority of my stuff, it just like kind of progressed and happened. My one goal for the year career wise to like was to be in Art Basel. I was like, I have no clue how I'm going to do it. In the beginning of the year, I didn't even have like a consistent flow of pieces. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to get into Art Basel. So it honestly started by building like that manifestation kind of like mindset thing. I just literally kept telling myself, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. The year kept progressing. I had like a lot of like ups and downs. And like a couple months ago, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to like reach that goal. Like, honestly, like it doesn't seem feasible. I didn't like reach out to people. I wasn't making that much of an effort on my end just because I had so many other art things going on. And then I had a production agency called 26 North Productions. They're an art curation place. They're awesome. They reached out to me and they were like, hey, we've heard of you. Like, they first set me up with like, hey, do you want to start doing murals in South Florida? We can start like doing kind of like curated events with you. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then they were like, we also have a spot in Art Basel for like, if you would like to do it. It's an all-female panel. It's at the Arlo in Wynwood. It's like a night event. You can do a live painting. And I was like, they asked me to do that. And I was like, yes, please. I would love to do that. Just like taking every
your goal from day one of this year. Sure.
Yeah, so, like honestly, like I might have like it might have the whole year felt like I wasn't going to reach that goal, but like because I started with that mindset in the very beginning of like dreaming big and then just making small practices, like that's honestly, and from connecting with people. Connecting with people is huge. You don't know who you're going to like make an impact on, because even if the person you're talking to is just like somebody who's not even in the same niche of like work that you do, they might know somebody that is in that same niche. And if they can refer you, which is what happened in my case, like that's why it's always kind of like put yourself out there constantly, you know?
Yeah. And, create products that make an impact. Obviously, your art really tends to do that. And I don't shy away when I say like you're one of the top artists out here. There's so much in Miami and you can go see it for yourself. But I'm telling you, like, just based on going to the shows and like bringing my friends to the shows, seeing what they say, like it stands out. So you do a very great job about like just kind of captivating some sort of emotion behind it, but also it just looks super cool. Can you talk to me about your favorite collections from this year, since it seems like it's been like a very like big year? Would you say there was one that like stood out to you that you were most proud of?
Yeah. Well, I did. The most recent piece that I did, I'm most proud of. It's a Kendrick Lamar piece. And even though like my whole theme is like basketball, literally, like that's my whole mama mentality. Basketball.
Yeah, they're not sick.
Yeah. And I love it to death, but it was more of like a building process for me. It was like more for like my mental health. That's why I did it. But like the Kendrick piece that I did, it was so experimental in how I chose to do it. It was multimedia. I used different tools. I did 3-dimension like resin designs on it. And it was like really creative. And it was like one of those pieces where I was like, I have no clue how this is going to look until like the very end. Like I just kind of had to trust the process and trust myself. And it like really, it came together really well. And yeah, everybody loves it. Like that I've talked to, they're like, I think this is your best. And I'm like, I love it. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'm, as someone who's like recently gotten into, I'd say, understanding, I've always listened to Kendrick's music, but never really I thought it took a lot to like really understand it. And then that made it better when I actually just tuned in with it. But I see how it really correlates. It's like a cool thing. It's kind of like, especially the timing of it. Like you go into Art Basel and he's such like a decorated artist. And it's just like, a lot of what he talks about is his journey and how just like influential, that's what his music is. It's what his perception of the world has kind of been. So it's cool to hear you, like how your art kind of connects to your mentality too. It's like, would you say that's a common theme among the community? Or I don't like to talk about like why artists like paint, but I think that's a cool connection. Would you say a lot of art is, other artists' perspective of how they see the world would be a better question?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like not just with art, but with everything, especially with artists. Yeah, I would say artists maybe more of what they feel the world to be, because emotion, like art is very emotion driven. It's very, some things aren't, but for the most part, it's more of like their experiences and their emotion more than what they see. I know that for my case, that's what it is. And I like to focus on stories of other people. So kind of like documenting. So like all of my basketball pieces, everything that I create kind of has like a multi-dimensional layer of like not just my perspective. I really try to hone in on what they were trying to portray.